Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Overflow. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, the Hatman in the Hat Production Facility. That's a terrible name. That is a terrible name for this place. Just the production facility, you guys.
Yes, we'll just call it that. So we've had a day. So me calling out defeatist attitudes and bad politics somehow has led to alt-right furries, which I didn't know were a thing, getting mad at us on Twitter. And then trying to claim that we colluded behind the scenes to get into arguments with them.
I don't understand it.
Truth is stranger than fiction sometimes.
It really is.
We even posted our DMs.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's a Photoshop.
Yeah, the funny thing is...
Come on.
Fucking... And it's still going, too. I'm still getting alerts for it. It's like
let them talk. They're done at this point.
It's like the same 12 people or so, and like half of them are old names I recognize from fucking GG Revolt.
So apparently GG Revolt turned people into fascist furries.
Oh my god! I guess after Seattle for Truth got arrested, they had to, or at least the remnants, since GG Revolt isn't a thing anymore, had to find somebody else to champion, and I guess Vox Day and his Bible of SJWs always lie ended up being their thing.
The one relevant book he's written.
Yeah, that's like the one book that he's written that people cite. Thank you, computer, for reminding me that it's 6:30. But yeah, that's like the only thing that people will cite as far as anything that he's written.
Yeah, congratulations on pointing out stuff that Andrew Breitbart pointed out in Righteous Indignation years prior. But,
well,
look,
we're moving on to better
these kind of people are silly. So we're gonna let's talk before we get into the questions. I have to say ICMI was a blast.
Oh yeah, it was great.
I still have whiskey to drink.
Even the clusterfuck and the chaos that happened, it was still great. And oh my god, the absolute clusterfuck that was the after party at Hooters.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
God.
I'm still tickled by the fact that I'm huge enough apparently for people to use me as a smoke shield.
That was funny.
And now there is, for those who don't know, now you have photos of me next to actual normally looking humans. I am a gigantic man. I'm not super tall. I'm just as broad as a wall. So
yeah, the vanilla gorilla comparisons were pretty much on point.
Yeah. So that might be the best fan nickname I've ever had. Because just somebody said it in the comments after I just said, that's a gorilla. And it just has stuck ever since. So
there you go.
But anyway, yeah, a lot of fun. It was nice meeting all these people face to face finally. And the cool thing for me, and I think the reason that I've been on a little bit higher spirits since then, is I came to a realization that there are people out there who really appreciate what we do, and appreciate that we're willing to do it, and we're willing to keep a positive attitude, even when things don't look that great.
Yeah, it's nice to have that bit of reassurance.
Yeah, to say the least. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. So apparently we answered, like a bunch of people reposted their politics questions from the last podcast when we did the anniversary show at our hotel room at ICMI. So we're going to just answer the two that are left. So let's go ahead and get to it. Thoughts on a school calling the police on a British student. Oh, this is from Autist Whisper. Because he was playing a World War II tabletop game because of supposed fascism. How funny. To try to prevent fascism, you are acting like a fascist.
What?
Yeah, apparently this is a thing. What's the old thing about those who fight monsters?
They're destroyed by the God Emperor's exterminatus.
Well, there's that too, but no, that's basically what we constantly see over and over again by these leftist governments is they say that they're afraid of fascism and they act like fascists. You know, you are not allowed to have the correct or certain ideas. You're not allowed to have certain thoughts. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that I disagree with the things that they do and the things that they say, but I've never called for them to be censored. I just say don't listen to them. And if you want to listen to me, go for it. If not, God bless.
Let's be real though. It's not really fascism that they're acting like, or fascists that they're acting like. It's just straight authoritarians. They're saying that their brand of authoritarianism is better than the other brand of not even authoritarianism, but pseudo-authoritarianism, fictionalized authoritarianism.
Yeah, there is this belief that has permeated extreme right and extreme left circles that if you play video games, board games, whatever, that happen to have evil people in them, that you will become evil. Hatman, just so you know, since I've played so many of them, I will now be going and creating Latveria. Because I am secretly Dr. Doom.
You're going to need a mask.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. But no, it's silly. It's beyond silly, and Britain has become a parody of itself.
It really has. There needs to be another execute Operation 1776.
Exactly.
Again,
yeah. If the British kick the British out of Britain, how does that work? Anyway, Incel Mafioso asks, thoughts on the Netflix doc The Family? Is it more fear-mongering towards Christians? Because I wasn't aware there was a group like that in the White House. I haven't heard of this, so I can't give that accurate of a thing. Let me look at it. Web television miniseries appearing on Netflix examines a Christian conservative group known as The Family or The Fellowship. Its history and investigates its influence on American politics. Founded in 1935 by Abraham Verede. It's formed for decision makers to share in Bible studies, prayer meetings, worship experiences into. Never even heard of this. Like I'm looking at like some of the main names. And there's a few that were involved in government. But not that many, not as many as I would think that would be major influencers. They seem kind of crazy. But apparently there's some sort of a group called the Fellowship Foundation that's associated with them that organizes the National Prayer Breakfast.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't even have Netflix anymore, so.
Yeah, I really have no clue. I can't really say anything about it. It's possible that it's more fear-mongering because oftentimes what the left likes to do is pick out one guy who's tangentially associated with certain politics or certain, groups, drag him out into the spotlight and make him the new face of it. And the way that you do that is you say he doesn't represent us. You know, we don't know who this guy is. We don't know why he's here. Never even heard of him, and he's never made, has nothing to do with me. So why even bring him up? Yes, he's bad, and what's the point to this? And that's generally the question that I try to have for people is, yes, that person is bad, and were you expecting a different answer? So yeah, beyond that, I don't really have any statements on it. I canceled my Netflix too. I don't even use it. So, shall we move on to entertainment?
I suppose we shall, if politics is that sparse. But then again, we answered a lot of your Overflow questions on the anniversary stream.
Yeah.
That was... I mean, I guess this isn't so much an Overflood anymore.
Yeah, no kidding.
The fake Overflood.
Yeah.
The Overflood that wasn't.
Exactly. Alright, entertainment. We'll start off with Koopa's Revenge Hone. He says, thoughts on Infinity Ward, saying that Trump is not in Modern Warfare. Well, good.
Good.
Why even put him in it? It wouldn't make any sense. Not to mention, if the game is based on the War on Terror, then I would imagine it probably takes place about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Because that's when the first Modern Warfare came out, was in 08, right? So 11 years ago. No, 07. So it's been 12 years since the original since the game that this is a remake of. It wouldn't surprise me if it's set during that time period. So, Donald Trump would have still been a businessman.
Yeah. But I hate this trend now that any sort of game about war or politics or whatever has to make a comment about Trump's America, even if it's not set remotely close to it. Like, the people getting pissy about, what was it, Far Cry 5? Not making any statement about it, and even...
and generally being a very pro-America game, by the way.
Yeah, and then Wolfenstein also. People got really pissy when it turned out that, yeah, actually there's not a whole hell of a lot of anti-Trumpism in there at all.
Yeah.
Oops. But what the fuck are you gonna do?
Well, that's just generally how it goes. I mean, there is this idea that on the political left that every piece of media has to say something about Donald Trump, or else it's not appropriately woke.
It's the new Comics Code Authority.
It really is.
Holy shit.
I just like to compare it to the fucking Pravda.
Somebody Photoshop that. Somebody Photoshop a lefty Comics Code seal, stamp, whatever. We need that. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. So, Alistair Folgore asks, if you had to design a soundtrack to a video game using the music of 5 metal bands, who would you choose?
Oh, God.
I just hire Mick Gordon.
5.
I just hire Mick Gordon.
Yeah, honestly, that is the best. I mean, if the guy can make music with a chainsaw, that's talent.
Yeah.
And that's metal as fuck.
Exactly. No, it would depend on the game I was gonna make. You know, if I'm gonna make a fantasy game, it would be power metal. If I was gonna make a first-person gory fucking shooter, it would be death and industrial metal. You know, stuff like that. If I was gonna make a superhero one, it would probably be metalcore stuff or something along those lines, like, or traditional metal. Like, there's no, I can't just throw 5 bands at you. Basically, it's gonna depend on the type of a game. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree. Because
just hire Mick Gordon. He's awesome.
Yeah. Also, there are a lot of questions we get that's like 5 bands or 5 books or whatever. Like, you guys, I understand this is Overflow, but sometimes we'll have to sit and think about these things if it's 5, and sometimes we have to sit and think about them even if it's 3.
Yeah.
So maybe try to ease off of those questions in the future. Unless you like dead air, of course.
Yeah, because those are definitely difficult. That's for sure. So let's continue onward, though. Withheld Rather Not Say says, remember when Micah was accused of being racist for disliking Jax's MK11 ending? Why was I called that? It seems like I'm either, racist or I'm not appropriately white. People can't make up their fucking minds.
Piss off every extremist. Why not?
I'm perfectly fine with that. If there was an appropriate image of me, it would be me walking down the center of two extreme groups with two birds raised to either side. Fuck them both. I don't give a shit what they think. Now, the reason is because I didn't like it that a white writer was trying to make a black character overly woke when he had never been so in the first place. It was complete total mischaracterization and showed he didn't know anything about Jackson Briggs. It was purely a literary critique, which, lo and behold, is what I do. And, it's no different with me than anybody else. If you critique, excuse me,
Bless.
Thank you. If you critique the woke, you are a racist, even if it is a white writer being critical of a white writer. Just keep that in mind. Brian Gilmartin asks, any thoughts on why so few indie comic writers are writing superhero stories? Professor Geek mentioned something about it, and I'm curious to hear your opinions. I'd like to have that discussion with him one-on-one sometime, so feel free to bug him to have me on a show. I think that a lot of it stems from the fact that a lot of people who are getting into the independents at the same time that I are just sick of superheroes. And they don't... That tends to be the case with a lot of indie writers. If you look for a superhero story on the indies, oftentimes it is a deconstruction. And I don't want to do that. I don't mind having superheroes with a twist, but I feel like ever since The Boys hit the comic stands years ago, everybody's been chasing it in a lot of ways. Because it is, and that's part of the reason I don't like the Amazon show, is The Boys is one of the best indie comics that's ever been written. It's phenomenal. And the story, especially in the later issues, is just mind-blowingly good. The whole thing for me is I just think that they're tired of it. That they just they would rather create something that isn't a superhero. So that's just my thoughts. Hatman, what do you think?
I lost my connection to the freaking Overflow document.
Oh, jeez.
I can't. So just read it out to me again.
Again, why do you think so many few indie comic writers want to write superheroes?
I guess maybe because superhero stories are like the standard for comics, and in some ways, like they're not entertaining, or at least as entertaining as the sort of thing that would basically just be a I don't want to say graphic novel to explain it. It's a different sort of dynamic story when it's your average person or something on the different realm of supernatural, like Shinobi Sasquatch or something, for example. Monster MD. Superheroes, you're almost boxed in a way. Like you don't have as much freedom as soon as you set limits on superpowers and weaknesses and whatnot. You have to constantly play by those rules. And I think maybe that's got something to do with it. Plus, it's also really hard to make a new superhero now when most of the time anyone that you make is going to be compared to someone who's already been established. I mean, there's only so many powers that you can have.
Yeah.
There's only so many names that you can make even. And it's either going to be like really, really cringy or more or less a ripoff.
Fair enough. Hopefully that answers the question. Tom the Fish wants to know, what are your exact issues with Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern chick that EVS made? So I don't have an issue with the character at all. I made fun of the origin of her being locked in her own home for like a year because her anxiety was really bad, and now I am not making fun of it anymore, you probably noticed. because my anxiety's gotten worse. So I am an asshole for that, to say the least. And I feel bad. You know, I do genuinely feel bad about that. So, karma is a bitch. We'll put it that way. So I don't have any issues at this point. Just write her well and people will read her. That's it.
There you go.
What was my recommended comic list from last week's podcasts that got interrupted? So I did these on the anniversary show, but I'll grab them again real quick. Though the one I had with me at the time was Christopher Priest's Black Panther. The other ones, and I'm just going to answer this real quick because I don't want to take forever. Jim Starlin's anything cosmic Jim Starlin related. The Thanos Quest is probably his best work. I think this book belongs in the Library of Congress. It's phenomenally written. Basically anything Jim Starlin did, Adam Warlock, Thanos, Silver Surfer, Captain Marvel, all of that stuff. The Infinity Trilogy, like, it's all good. You know, read that. That's beautiful. So there's that. There's, anytime David Michelini was writing Venom, but specifically this one, Lethal Protector, is his best miniseries. But his Amazing Spider-Man is, in my opinion, the best run ever. Him and J. Michael Straczynski, I think, are the top 2 Spider-Man writers of all time, outside of, Stan himself. And then, finally, that was loud, Jonathan Hickman's Avengers, and the Infinity Event as well. Hickman's Avengers is easily the best Avengers run of all time. He is a phenomenal writer, to say the least. So, yeah, those are my recommendations.
There you go.
Crystal Wing asks, do we think Earth Defense Force would work as a movie franchise, combining elements from superhero, kaiju, military, action, and comedy genres?
You'd be spreading yourself too thin if you go that many different things.
I think that the thing about it is if you did it, it would come across way too much like Edge of Tomorrow.
Almost, with some Pacific Rim elements, too.
Yeah. That's the thing. Those elements have already kind of been done in film already and better.
Yeah, and, well, I guess done twice, too, because remember, Pacific Rim Uprising was a horrible abomination of a film.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be able to do it. It'd just be too difficult.
Yeah, I would agree. And then, last question. Servant of God wants to know. This is a long one. Says, I had something happen to me late last month, bit before my drive to Springfield to see my grandma, be at family reunion. Thought you guys might get a kick out of it. Background first. Had the occasional dream that tends to have some rando evil douchebag decide to mess with me for as far as I can tell shits and giggles. Last one I had at the time of writing, this one had started with me in some, at the same time, rustic and yet modern Menards type store. Let's see here. After trying to get out of the doorway a few times, I get the sense to see what happens. Some large dude, almost double his height, comes up and gets his attention, keeps saying I need to listen to him, ask what he's doing in my dream, proceeds to tell me about all the good things that God said he wants to bless me with, trying to say they're all lies, saying he could fool me, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, but on to the question. Do you think that it's possible that this is what inspired Thanos, or do you think that he was pulling a last-minute gambit to try to stick around? He's talking about MCU Thanos, specifically. He says, can't wait to get Englewood. Thank you for glad you got full funding, and feel free to cut out anything you can for time, which I did. And he asked about when we're going to cut the Endgame thing. I don't even remember what the bet was.
I don't remember the terms of the bet either, but I would presume once it has ended its theatrical run, then it would be cut. And I'm fairly certain it has at this point, since it's now, out on home media. So yeah, I would say at this point just cut it. So what are the terms of the bet is basically what we're gonna have to ask you.
Yeah, I don't even remember. But let's see. I don't even remember how much it earned.
It did not hit $3 billion.
Let's see here. Oh, it came close. 2.796 billion. Anyway, to answer the question, it's hard to really say. Like, I know the inspiration for Thanos was the philosophy of nihilism. That's straight from Jim Starlin's mouth. Because he wrote a term paper while he was in college about nihilism, and that was inevitably how he came up with the character. And the MCU version of Thanos is basically based on Jim's version of Thanos. He was even an advisor for the film. Yeah, like that's where it comes from. I don't know about all this other stuff that you had in your dream there. But generally what Thanos and what nihilistic idea can come down to is this idea that life in and of itself is not necessarily a good thing. That it can cause negative things and that we need to reevaluate it. Oddly enough, will to power goes into that a lot too. Though some argue that Will to Power was not completely written by Nietzsche. I don't really know if that's true or not. It definitely feels different than a lot of his other books, but so did Martin Luther's book on Jews. So it could just be he was getting old and senile.
I don't know what the question is here.
Well, it was kind of basically this idea of this saying that the good things that God blesses us with are not actually good.
It seems like specific to the dream, though, because you think he's pulling a last-minute gambit to try and stick around. I have no idea. I don't really do dream interpretation much anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, I don't know, but if you're dreaming about Thanos, man, you're having probably cooler dreams than me. Because I don't even remember the things that I dream unless they have to do with, like, real people.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, rhinoceroses. I don't know why. If I ever have a dream with a rhinoceros in it, I remember it.
I don't even dream anymore.
I don't much. I will tell you one thing. I have not had a nightmare in years. Or any kind of bad dream at all. Not in years. I don't know why. I don't know what I did.
See, I'm the opposite. It's like the rare occasions when I dream, it's a nightmare. It sucks.
That's weird. I don't understand it. I really, really don't.
No, everybody's mind works differently. Mine is just one that I'm constantly fighting with. So,
well, to be fair, my nightmares were really, really tied to the trauma that I was dealing with at the time. So that's the thing, that didn't get resolved until somewhat recently. So I don't know why. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm going too much into my own personal life. So
yeah,
you guys probably don't want to hear me talk about that anyway. So is that it? Is that the last one?
That is the last one.
Good God, yeah, this really is an overflood that wasn't.
Pretty much.
Wow. All right.
All reports of an overflood have been fake news.
This is climate change.
I guess
this
so.
Is clearly climate change. All right. Well, I guess that's what happens when you do like 2 Q&A streams pretty much in a row. So
yeah, pretty much. So we are going to go ahead and take off. So we appreciate you guys watching. Of course, podcast will be back to normal this coming weekend. Probably, going to be at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday. So definitely looking forward to that. Anything else that we really need to answer at this point? or say? I can't think of any final words.
I can't really think of any either, except continue to back Englewood. We've got about a week left now. Yes, we've hit goal, but there are stretch goals that we also want to hit. And shirts. If you didn't see the shirts, we'll be showing them off again this weekend.
Awesome.
But they are coming sooner than you guys think.
Amen to that. Alright, folks, we're going to go ahead and take off then. My name is Micah Curtis, your favorite vanilla gorilla.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as your favorite Hatman.
We'll see you guys next time. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.